everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. Today's video is a review of Home Volume 1. This is a trade paperback which collects Home issues 1 through 5 from Image Comics. If you may remember, we did a video for the first issue of this. But now that I have read the whole thing and the collection is coming out, I wanted to make a review because I really like this book and I want people to go get it. So Home is written by Julio Anta with art by Anta Wieszczyk, colors by Brian Valenza, and letters by Hassan Otsmane Elau, with a cover by Lisa Sterle and design by Dylan Todd. Like I mentioned, this is in an Image comic. Also, this trade paperback contains an educator guide for reimagining migration by Avner Shinoa, Amber Cook, Jody Grosser, and Robin Holly Briante. And we'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end of the video. So if you don't know, it follows after being separated at the U.S. border from his family, a young Guatemalan immigrant must learn to harness his emerging superhuman abilities while being hunted by the federal government. With this debut, the team debuts with a deeply grounded and heartfelt graphic novel that explores the real world's implication of a migrant with extraordinary powers. So obviously, I really like this book because it includes creators of color, creators from the Latinx community. So that's definitely something I'm going to always check out and support. Being a member of the community myself, I like to see books that reflect my community and people and maybe common struggles. So let's get into this book here. And this book came out of time that immigration is always a hot button issue here, but obviously it's not every day that we see it in the comic pages. And it does have this story definitely adds an interesting twist though, because it's really not just about the story of this family, but it definitely sets it up in a world that feels real, that feels like something that you would be familiar with. I really like the art. It's very simple. It feels, I guess, soft is an interesting word, but it's the only thing I could use to describe it. There's no like harsh lines or big dynamic panels or anything like that, and it really just kind of shows you the trip for this family as they get, and like I mentioned before, in the first issue we see that the family gets separated at the U.S. border, and unfortunately our protagonist, who was not aware that he had any powers, will develop the powers maybe at the worst or the best time possible, depending on your point of view. But they definitely happen without him being able to fully control that. So that's kind of where this story that feels very realistic has a little twist to obviously enhance the story and then kind of bring up the metaphor of like, what some people that are moving to this country, how they have unique circumstances, but also unique skills and unique sets of like something that makes them special. In this case, this is being represented by a literal superpower. Um, so yeah, and like I said, the art is very fluid. Like it doesn't. I don't know how to explain it. This part's the one. So I struggle a little bit because everything feels like it's. So here we have this panel where our protagonist is separated in a room because he broke one of the rules in the detention center where he's being held, separated from his family. And the first time that we see the powers develop, he's able to escape, and he kind of has a little bit of a plan. I like that our protagonist is smart. He knows what's happening. He knows that he's very cautious for a child, but he's still a kid, so things are definitely going to happen. But he remembers what his mother told him and is able to contact his family and get to what I would call a little bit of a more safe and reliable situation. So yeah, the powers are not what is the main focus of the story here. I think the experience of this child in a different country, separated from everyone that he knows, separated from everything that he knows, that's what really drives the story. But I think the power set, or the character having powers in these abilities, as he's being hunted down by the federal government and the agencies that patrol uh, the border and the police and all that. I think that's what makes the story really interesting, because it adds a new layer, a new nuance on top of that. On the other side, we do see his mom being sent back to Guatemala. And I don't know, I picked this panel because it's a really interesting just juxtaposition of, like, these ladies probably just going on vacation or whatever the case may be, where we have these women that are being sent back without their children, without their families. Um, so I don't know. I thought it was a really interesting panel. I think it's a very strong depiction of a system that's a real world thing that may need, like, it probably doesn't work. It's probably broken and it needs fixing. Um, so yeah, I just really think this was an important panel to highlight. And the book is full of stuff like this, so it's kind of why I really appreciate it, because the creators did not. I don't want to say hold back, but they didn't really sugarcoat anything. Like, there's stuff in this book that will probably make you feel uncomfortable, especially if you're part of a community that's oppressed by some of these systems. Um, but there's also the story of this kid, um, who's gonna overcome these obstacles and has his family and whatever the case may be. For example, in this next set of pages, Juan finally gets to talk to his mom, and it's beautiful. Like, they have a beautiful conversation, and although they're countries apart, like, I really love the way this is portrayed. I also really like that the lettering, everything that's in red in this book, it's in Spanish. And for being presented in a book that is mainly in English, except for some of these our character. I mean, I was except for the our protagonist and his family. Like, I feel like the color red, the lettering being red, really drives the point that sometimes when people hear people talking in other languages that are not their own, it raises a red flag. I don't know. It really calls attention to it. So I don't know. I really appreciated the Spanish dialogue being in red, as opposed to the English dialogue, which is in the black ink. Um, I'm sure that was a deliberate choice. Haas is an excellent letterer, so he was definitely the perfect fit for a book with so much nuance as this one. All right, so yeah, I really enjoyed the book. This is volume one. There's a lot more stuff that happens. I don't want to really get into spoilers because the last few issues they really get kind of bonkers, but it's actually very exciting. So all the panels that I showed are from the initial issues. I left a lot of stuff out because I don't want to spoil the book for anyone. But I would definitely recommend it. I think it's important. I think it's something that it's really important for you to kind of read and take it into just to start expanding your horizons and the type of stuff you can read. This book really shows how you can bring in an important topic, a relevant, timely topic, into this medium, and still have an interesting story to tell, still have interesting characters, and still put a fun twist to it. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff in the book as well. So, like, it's not like this book is just a downer. The overall situation of it, yeah, that's a downer for sure, but the book is really interesting and quite enjoyable. So the one last thing I wanted to touch on is in the back of the book there's a teaching guide, a reimagining Migration and Educator's Guide, which I find like this is a book that you could have at schools, and you could go over some of this material and really teach future generations and current generations of like what's going on with these systems that need to be fixed, and just kind of why, maybe even why people have to go through these things, why people have to leave their homes and their countries. So yeah, very interesting book, very interesting, very nuanced. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that I had the chance to not only review the individual issue when this originally came out, but now I'm all caught up with volume one, and I can't wait to see what the team brings for volume two. So thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. Let me know if you read this book. Let me know what else you're reading from Image Comics or any other indies. Let me know if you got your books. I know Diamond has had some issues with the distribution of indie comics, so hopefully this won't be delayed in your store. But if it is, you can catch it online. You can get it from Image Comics, I believe. You can get it straight from them. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.